Well, hello, everybody. So this is the first time we've tried this. This is a combination of the marketing for all presentations of several different subject matters combined into one. This idea of these clusters that we're trying out, and we're presenting these in webinar format just to give it a go and see how it goes and see if it's something we want to continue through the growing season or hold off and maybe until the fall and try this again. But if you're watching this now or in the recording afterward, reach out and let us know if this is something you liked. If it's on YouTube, give it a like and consider sharing and comment and let us know which part was your favorite. But if you're watching live, we appreciate you joining us. And the first topic we're going to talk about is digital marketing basics. Then we're going to wade through a little bit about social media and analytics and web design. So hopefully by the end of this, you'll have a couple of ideas about how you might boost your online presence and online marketing chops this year in 2023. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Camille, and she's going to get us kicked off with digital marketing basics.
All right. Thank you, Brett. Good afternoon, everyone. So today I will be talking about digital marketing basics. My coworker Savannah will also talk a little bit more in detail about social media. So she's included in digital marketing basics as well. But we'll get started here. So essentially for digital marketing, what is it and what are its benefits? So kind of the point of these slides is to have a deeper dive into what digital marketing is, the benefits, and some more descriptions of a few of the popular types. So we'll talk about those in just a bit. So what is digital marketing? Digital marketing, sometimes called online marketing, it refers to all marketing efforts that occur on the internet or on any form of technological device. It can be used by marketing specialists to convey promotional messaging and measure its impacts through your customer journey. Lots of businesses utilize digital channels such as search engines, social media, email, and other websites to connect with current and prospective customers. This also includes communication through text or multimedia messages. So sometimes you'll get an email sign up and a text message sign up, and you'll get texts saying, hey, we have this sale going on, or use this code for 20% off. That is also forms of digital marketing. Some fun facts about it: more than 3/4 of Americans go online on a daily basis. So 43% go online more than once per day. And then 26% of Americans are considered online almost constantly. And then a few more. So these figures are even higher among mobile internet users. So people who use their phones for apps, quick access, things like that, and not just a laptop or an iPad per se. 89% of Americans who use mobile, or like a mobile form of internet, go online at least daily, and 31% are online almost constantly. So if you have kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, whatever, who are on the iPad or on their phone all the time, they would be considered the 31% that are online almost constantly. But as a marketer, it's important to take advantage of the digital world and have an online advertising presence. This helps build your brand. It provides a great customer experience, and it brings more potential customers and with a digital strategy. So kind of we're thinking about digital strategies here. How can we utilize digital marketing? So why is it important? Well, digital marketing can help you reach a larger audience than you could through traditional channels. For example, Facebook, use of social media, having a website, having these SEO, search engine optimization tools. It's more cost effective than traditional advertising. Most all forms of social media or any form of digital marketing has just a base package for free. You can obviously pay more to get a little bit more advanced with some of these forms, but most all forms digital marketing start with a premium base free package. So it's can be very cost effective in that form because it's free. A digital marketing strategy can also allow you to leverage different channels to connect with existing customers and individuals interested in your products or services. So as a result, you can build a brand, provide great customer service, and bring in potential customers, as well as many more opportunities. So some more, just going into a little bit more of those benefits of digital marketing. So number one, focus efforts on prospects that are likely to purchase whatever products or items you sell. If you have some people on, say, your Facebook page, and you're really trying to get some of them to be customers, you could really start to focus a little bit more effort on your social media presence and on your Facebook page, just as an example there. Again, it's more cost effective. Just as I said, most social forms of social media, website, email marketing tools are free starting out. But again, you can pay for more services to get a little bit more in depth with those features. It evens the playing field. It's measurable. This is where analytics come in. So Emily will be speaking more on analytics later in this presentation, but it's measurable. You can see the impact you are having when you use these digital marketing tools. It's easier to adapt and change. So you can quickly change information on these tools with essentially the click of a button. If you have business cards and say your website name changed or your title changed, you have to go and get those sent off to a print shop, get new ones printed. We're not sure how long that could take. But on your website, your social media, whatever that might be, you just get on there 5-10 minutes, boom, you're done. Everything's updated. It doesn't take days, it takes minutes. It can improve your conversion rate. And so conversion rate is when your viewers turn into followers who then turn into consumers. And then you can engage your audience at every stage. That kind of goes a little bit with the conversion rate. So again, you take a viewer to a loyal customer and you can speak to all your customers, you can speak to all your viewers, you can speak to all your followers using these platforms. So just some different types of digital marketing. Some of them you may have heard of, some of them you might not have. You have email marketing, social media marketing, content marketing, pay-per-click, SEO tools, mobile marketing, marketing/website analytics, affiliate marketing, kind of thinking of influencers in that regard. But I highlighted email, social media, and SEO because that's kind of the ones that we will be talking about today that generally have more interest in having a little bit more content on. So email marketing, it works with content marketing because you are making content when you send emails, and this provides value to consumers and over time can convert your audience to customers. There are 3 types of email used: transactional, relational, and promotional. So for transactional, these are sent in response to an action that a customer has taken with your brand. They include order confirmations, receipts, coupon codes, your shipping confirmations, password reminders, stuff like that. Sometimes this type of email can be overlooked as an opportunity to give customers an idea of the voice behind your brand and what it's like to do business with you. But do you deliver what is promised? Do you respect your customers' wishes? This can lead customers on your email list to observe how you do your business. And transitional emails are a big part of that. Just kind of keeping up. I know some people might use Square and they can kind of send receipts automatically. And maybe, I'm not sure how editable those receipts could be, but maybe at the bottom you say, you know, we really appreciate your service or your purchase. Include a little note at the bottom, just so your customers know that they're valued. Switching to relational, these deliver value to your customer by providing free content and information such as subscriber welcomes, newsletters, blog articles, surveys, social updates, and many more. Relational emails may not make an offer or sell a product directly, but they're designed to build that relationship with your customer by adding value up front. So your customer is getting to know you, getting to know your brand. So, for example, when your email subscriber receives a piece of quality content with your newsletter, he or she is interacting with your brand in a deeper and more meaningful way. So, they might be on the verge of ordering, for example, salsa from you, and they haven't really decided yet, but they got this really great email and you included a recipe and a little bit of a connection with, this was my great grandmother's recipe. And your customer then says, you know what, I really want to try that. I'm going to now purchase, because you kind of created that connection. You've built that relationship with your potential consumer. And then our last one, promotional. These are your most common types of emails, and their purpose is to make an offer to your email list. They could be promotional content, white paper or webinar, a brand announcement, new product release, and many more opportunities. And then another fun fact here was 66% of consumers have made a purchase as a direct result of an email marketing message. So it's no wonder why promotional emails are so popular, because they do work. So that's just a kind of an overview here of email marketing. We'll switch gears to SEO tools, search engine optimization tools. So the goal in search engine optimization is to get your business to rank higher in search results. Think when you go to Google, Bing, Yahoo, whatever you use, and you type in a word, and what's the first things that can come up on your, I see we have a question in the chat. Emily says she's a huge email buyer, so they work. But so SEO tools, yes, just think about when they go into your search engine and you type in one word, what comes up? Salsa. Well, what is going to come up? Is it going to be Kroger? Is it going to be a local farm? What might come up when you search in that toolbar? Another kind of quick fact is SEO is beginning to be done by third-party companies that specialize in this form of marketing. They're really trying to get hit those keywords and get their product, their brand, their name as the first thing that you see when you Google search, whatever it might be. So with that, you're going to target relevant primary and secondary keywords when building your website. So kind of those descriptions when you're kind of saying your about you, stuff like that. You want to write quality and original content, explain who you are, explain your brand, your farm, whatever it is that you want to really let people know who you are. And then you want to format your content around the questions that your audience is asking. So if you are at the farmer's market, Monday through Friday from 8 to noon, make sure you've got that clearly listed on your website. So that way when people might search up your county, farmer's market, time, and then your website can pop up and people can see exactly when you'll be there and what time you're usually always there. And then I always think a really good example locally for use of SEO tools is the Kentucky Sheep and Goat Development Office. I work pretty close with them, and you can type in sheep and start with K before you even type in Kentucky. You can even put KY, but you can type in sheep, and then next thing you know, the first thing that's starting to pop up is the Kentucky Sheep and Goat Development Office's website. So they have really put in a lot of work to get these SEO tools to get their name to be the first thing that pops up when you start typing in sheep or goat, and then start with K for Kentucky. And then some more SEO tips. To optimize your page, you want to optimize your page title and your meta description. And when I read meta description, I was also like, what? I don't know what that means. But meta description is essentially that short blurb of words that comes underneath your title to describe more of what you have to offer. So your title is usually your URL name or your website's name, and then it kind of goes into that description underneath, just kind of general when you look at a search bar before you've clicked any websites. It's that you have that bold title and then all those little words underneath. That's that meta description. You also want to make sure your graphics are top quality on your website. You want to regularly audit your website. Keep it up to date. You know, we talked about sort hours, when you're going to be at the farmer's market, things like that. Just keep those times and important information up to date. Again, even earlier, it's very easy to go in, just re-update whatever time it is you're there, or say, hey, I'm not going to be here today, or these days, just going forward. Just make those changes so your customers know where you'll be, when you'll be, things like that. And then, as anything, especially with digital marketing, social media, all those things, continue to learn about SEO tools. One thing we know, it is ever changing. We can learn about this, and then in 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, these tools, these things can change. But the internet technology is ever changing. So just be adaptable and be open to learning more about these tools and stuff. And a good tip is, like, even if this might not seem like what you want to do right now, it doesn't mean you can't do it in the future. Doesn't mean you can't consider put a pin in it and come back to it later. Maybe you just want to focus on email marketing right now. But there are plenty of forms of digital marketing that we can focus on. And some of these are just the easiest ways to, like, kind of dip your toes in the water to get started. And then after that, we will open up to questions because I am finished.
Well, we got one sorry, I'm gonna move my mic. We got one hot off the presses for you here. Can you say more about what one might do to optimize the page title and meta description?
Okay. So essentially, your page title will want to be what your business name is. So for the Kentucky Sheep and Goat Development Office, and I'll just use them as my example just because I know that one pretty well. That's just the main title that they have. They don't have anything up there at the top of their page. It literally just says Kentucky Sheep and Goat Development Office. So worst comes to worst, people can just type that in, and that should be the first thing that pops up. And then meta description, you just kind of want to start thinking about what your customers are wanting to see or wanting to know. So a good way to start, before, even if you haven't started your website yet, a good way to start that would be to talk to those that currently purchase your products or some of your family, whoever, and just kind of see, when you think of my product, what words come to mind. And then I don't know enough about it currently, and I'm pretty sure I'll say it incorrectly, but the AI chat GPT, you could just type in some words there and see what it could come up with, and then take that and kind of expand on the description that it could give. There are useful tools out there to kind of help you write those descriptions to help hit those markers that people are searching for. So, for example, high quality tomatoes. Make sure in your website description, when you're writing about you or you're about the products you have, make sure you're saying high quality ripe tomatoes. Just words like that, hitting those key markers will help you kind of push your brand and higher up in that search with SEO.
Another component of that, I think, that you might think about is just making sure that if you're using a website builder or something similar to that, like and you almost certainly will be, I'll be talking about those in a little bit, but if you make sure that you have Google Analytics installed or set up on the website, and usually that's a very simple process. And then there are actually a couple of processes you can go through where you initiate. They used to call it crawling. I'm not sure if they still call it that or not, but where the search engines will actually crawl the web, like go through the website and see all the content that's there, and then within a couple of days, it's more accurately indexed. But a big part of that process is making sure that you get the website property registered with Google, because the reality is that Google is the predominant search engine. So that's just another thought. Camille, I had a question, and maybe you touched on it, but on the email marketing, did you share anything about frequency or timing or any of that kind of nuts and bolts?
So frequency, it kind of varies on what you have and what your consumers are expecting. A really good rule of thumb is to start just with one time a week. And it does not have to be a long email. It can just be a quick update, a farm update. And you say, in the spring, it's calving season, we had our first calf born. And that's all you send to your consumers or your listeners, your viewers, whatever. And that can be just one email a week. You can do more. Typically, when you do email marketing, you don't really want to do more than 2 to 3 emails a week. Sometimes that can get clunky. A lot of times, especially if people aren't interacting with them. So when they open up the email, if they're just automatically deleting them, they can then get sent to junk and then they'll never get utilized. So typically 2 to 3 is when you kind of get comfortable with it, where you want to max out on per week. But if you're wanting to get started, just start with one a week, maybe sit down on a Sunday and take 5, set some time aside, 5, 10, 20 minutes, however long you feel like it might take you to write out an email. And yeah, again, it does not have to be this long, really thought out email. It can just be a farm update, something as simple as that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions from anybody for Camille? If something comes up or I'll always have a question 5 minutes after the question period. If that happens, feel free to drop a chat question, and you could say questions for Camille or questions for whoever at any point, and we'll make sure to come back to them. So if no other questions at the moment, we'll go ahead and hand it over to Savannah to talk a little bit about social media.
Thanks, Brett. I'm Savannah. I'm going to talk about social media marketing, everyone's favorite thing. So sometimes social media can make us feel like the face on the left, like sad, frustrated, overwhelmed, angry sometimes, like we've all been there and been frustrated or don't know what to do. But tonight we're going to go through some social media tips and ideas so that we can turn our frown upside down and be more like the face on the right, happy and content. So let's first start with why we should market ourselves on social media. And there's endless reasons why we should participate in social media marketing. But just for tonight, we're going to talk about a few. And those are reaching and attracting our customers and information sharing. And we're also going to go through some tools that will make social media marketing a little easier than maybe it has been, or make it a little easier for you to work with. So reaching and attracting consumers. Sometimes your social media is the first way a customer will interact with you. And the goal is to have an online presence that attracts them and makes them want to visit your store or the farmer's market booth before maybe they've actually done it in person yet. And if you have a complete or a confusing presence on social media, consumers might be turned away by that. I think probably all of us at some point in our presentation will talk about having clear information on your social media or your website, or to use an analytics. Like it's just really important to have your information clear, the same on all platforms, easy for consumers to know when to find you, where to find you, things like that. You don't have to post on social media every day. So we have a content calendar that I'll show as an example, but it doesn't have to be a super overwhelming thing. We want to post continuously throughout the season so that our customers can stay engaged and informed and interested. We can't stop posting at the end of the farmers market season or the end of the CSA season and then pop back up in May when we need something. Like that's not how we can keep our customers and engage our customers. So a big part of social media is even an aspect of customer retention, just making your customers feel important, cared about, because you can use that marketing tactic to get them to buy stuff from you. So yeah, consumers want to feel connected and important all year long, just not when we need them. And this can sound intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. We'll go through some ways in a minute to generate content, and you can even reuse content in the off season, and nobody will even know. But back to attracting customers. Ways to attract customers via social media is to have your products featured on your social media pages. But we can't forget our human or oftentimes like animal interaction pieces. People want to see more than just the product that we're selling. So it's nice to have some narrative pieces in there too. Like, look how happy my calves are today, or the example that Camille gave about, having a newborn calf. Or, look at these chickens that we just bought from XYZ company, or look at, these vegetables that are growing super strong in the garden, and we can't wait to be out, with you at the market. Like, not necessarily selling people your product, but showcasing it, just doing more on your social media than just like, come buy my stuff. Because that's what keeps our customers interested and engaged and coming back. We have a kind of rule of thumb that it's going to be 80% of our social media posts should be social, and 20% should be marketing our product. So kind of keep that rule of thumb in your head. But we want to remember to have fun with this. It's social media, so it's supposed to be social and fun and not overwhelming and scary. And we can have fun by making reels or Facebook Live videos. We've been doing Facebook Live videos on our CCD Facebook page, just to kind of inspire other people to do that and show you that it doesn't have to be long videos, some kind of professional thing. It can be real, like authentic. And that's the point of social media, is to be authentic too. So your customers and, us, we don't expect you to have, a professional photography team come out there, but what is cool, is seeing, videos from your farm, or this is what we're going to have at the farmers market in a video format, like, can't wait to see you there. That can go a long way. And you can even, do a Facebook Live on the Saturday morning of your market to show your customers where you're going to be at. Like, you can find us between the two green poles, or, whatever it's going to be. Give them a visual, a way for them to connect there. Is a cool thing to do. And then another tip is to be interactive. If a customer or even a fellow business or farm shares or comments on your stuff, thank them and return the favor. People are more likely to share your stuff if they feel like appreciated for doing it. And then people are more likely to comment back if you acknowledge their comment. So a little slide about what consumers might look for on your social media page. One is on the left side of the screen, our physical address, farm store location, hours. Myself too, when I am looking for, XYZ farm, I'm going to go on the internet and look at their Facebook page. That's where I go first, probably most of the time, is to go to Facebook and look at someone's farm instead of like Safari. But we want to just make sure that our Facebook page is accurate, has our, full Google address, and any kind of linked social media, because that's important, and customers look for that on our social media page. Where our product is located is also important, whether that's at the farmer's market, on the grocery store shelves, If your customer like can't find your product, how are they going to buy it from you? So we can use our social media to tell our customers which farmers market we're going to be at, or what grocery store carries our product, and use social media to help them navigate the sales channels. So many people use social media to gain information about a business, so we don't want to miss out on the opportunity to create like a potential new customer when they're coming to our Facebook page for information about our business. We can also use our social media page to list our stuff we have for sale. So I have a picture here, which is I took in the store, but the apple pricing, we can use our social media pages to showcase, menus that we might have, price sheets. Price sheets also can help lessen confusion for consumers. So having them on your social media could be helpful, and a piece of content too, instead of having like pictures all the time, or like, I don't know what to post. You could have if you have a price sheet, you could use that as an idea for an Instagram post or a Facebook post too. So these things that consumers are looking for could also be post or things like that on your social media. So there is a 2-for-1 right there. So we'll go through 2 examples. Example 1 is this one that's from 2020, a farm called Wildcat Mountain Cheese. This is their product. So in this example, we have the product in the photo. The caption will tell you exactly where to find this product, which is key. How are we going to find, or how are we going to buy a product if we don't know where it is? And then it includes some identifying labels like the Appalachian Proud label. But also what's neat about this Instagram post is Moonlight Meat posted this for Wildcat Cheese. So you can see in the caption, they have a short, sweet, to the point caption that works for them. And Wildcat Mountain Cheese was like, thank you so much for the shout out. That kind of interaction is super cool. But that's one example of a social media post. Here's another that I actually pulled today from a farm. And this piece has, or this post has both the human interaction piece of, this is one of the owner's dads who is driving the hay wagon today for elementary school students. And they're really excited about that. And then talks about thanking customers for coming out for Mother's Day, but then also gives a little piece of information on the amount of strawberries that they have available. This is just an example of an informative post that has the human interaction piece and talking about a little bit about the market without necessarily selling you the product, saying come buy my product. Gives a little bit of stuff, even though the product is in the picture that is the strawberries from their farm. But interaction can go a long way. So this is a picture I took in person, so not online on social media, but this concept still works online. This was at a home and garden outdoor store, and they were doing hanging basket evaluations, and all the customers that day got to pick out which hanging baskets they liked the best. And the producer actually used this to decide which hanging baskets they were going to make, or they were going to, invest in for the next year, which baskets had the most likes. But this interaction piece was really cool for me as a customer, because I got to vote on my favorite basket, and I'll never forget doing this. But this can be done on social media with a this or that post, asking questions to your customers, to your followers. You could even post something that maybe has more than just one picture, a few pictures, like rate, you know, pick your favorite picture out of this out of these 5 and let us know what you think. And you can use that both as a promotion. People will comment, it'll create comments and energy on your posts, but also you can use it to find out if your customers like this or that. So that's a really cool example that I like to put in there. Next, we'll talk about how to generate content, some ideas. This is just a small list. I mean, there's so many things that you can do on social media, but these are just a few things. Some behind the scenes photos. These sound like really cool to be in your caption, to be like behind the scenes at the farm, when this could really just be a picture that you're taking, you know, during your daily activities. Like saying it's behind the scenes makes it sound really cool, which it is cool. Farming is awesome and cool and all that, but it kind of shows that like your social media posts don't have to be as intricate and overwhelming as they might seem, or you might feel like they seem. You can do behind the scenes photos and showcase, you know, what you have going on this week. Discounts and promotions, those will always get following and generate, you know, likes or whatever, in a way to give your customers something. You know, if they, you know, share this link for a 15% off discount, you know, that helps generate following, share your page, spread the word. It's okay to reuse content. So I talked about earlier, having a consistent posting all year round. You can repost stuff from the summer, you know, in November and be like, reminiscing on my time in the fields. I can't wait to, you know, start on my tomato plant seedlings soon. That kind of stuff keeps your customers engaged and like following your social media, but you don't have to take any more pictures. You can reuse stuff. On my own personal Instagram, like posted some stuff from a hike that I did in like way back in December, and I was like reminiscing on this. So I mean, it's cool, and people follow it and like it. The this or that is the same kind of example that I gave earlier with the baskets. The this or that post, often I've seen them in like clothing boutiques trying to decide what stuff to buy for their customers. They will do Instagram stories of this or that, and the customers vote on it. But that kind of interaction can bring your Instagram page to like the top of people's feed. But it also helps you get a really good idea of, you know, what your customers are interested in, and they feel interactive with you, which is cool. And ask questions, that's super helpful with content generation and getting people's feedback and people finding your page and talking on your page and stuff like that. So some tools to generate content. Camille mentioned ChatGPT for a second. We will talk about that. But first is like staying organized on a content calendar, and this can be done in a variety of ways. So we have a content calendar for our CCD social media page. So this is a screenshot of our May calendar, and this is just in Excel. It's color coded for some ease, but this is kind of laid out really nicely, and like you can see what you're gonna post. You can get your thoughts together in this Excel sheet that you can type in and stuff. You know, for us, we are posting every day because we are providing like resources for growers. You can post every day. You don't have to post every day if that's overwhelming. You know, maybe for you on Mondays, it's a produce highlight, you know, what you have in season or in the ground, or what you're working on. Tuesday could be harvest. Wednesday could be the behind the scenes stuff, stories, you know, what's happening on the farm. Thursday could be a farmer's market reminder post, or like where you're going to be at this weekend. Friday could be another harvest highlight, or you know, pictures of the harvest tubs. And Saturday could be like, come see us at the market. You can do your Facebook Live with, showing where your booth is, and stuff like that. So it doesn't have to be, and you could do that every week. Like you could do the same schedule every week, and then you'll never have to like wonder when to post stuff. It'll be the same every week. And you could start there. And we have ChatGPT, which I took this little screen capture of how to use ChatGPT. So you'll just Google ChatGPT, and then you'll click try ChatGPT at the bottom. And then it'll pop up in a new window, and then you can type whatever you want in this thing, and it'll create stuff for you. So I typed 3 Instagram captions for consumers to visit my farmers market booth. I'm pretty sure is what I said. And then you'll just press enter, and it will populate 3 different Instagram captions for customers to visit my farmers market booth, right? And they have hashtags, emojis. You can just copy that right into your Instagram or your Facebook post. And then if you don't like them, you can type in something else and get more results. So this time I typed in 3 Instagram captions for visiting my store, which gave me more like retail based answers. So I copied that back and then added to visit my grocery store. If you guys have like a farm stand or something like that, that could be more applicable. And then it came up with 3 new captions, and you can use these. Like it's a free resource for you to use and get some inspiration, some, it's hard to like create captions sometimes. I totally get it. So using a tool like this makes it a little easier than having to come up with stuff all on your own. And then some ways to integrate to make this a little easier on you. So I have here a screen capture of one Facebook page that I help run. I don't have everything scheduled for this month, but if you have both a Facebook and an Instagram account, you can go through the Facebook Meta Business Suite and schedule both of them at the same time, and they'll post to both your Facebook and your Instagram. So doing like a 2-in-1 kind of thing. I don't have an Instagram hooked up to this Facebook account specifically, but in the Meta Business Suite, I'm able to schedule posts in advance, both post and stories. And post can include pictures and videos and things like that. And then you can set them for whatever time you want them to publish. And then when I first create a scheduled post thing, it will tell me the times that my followers are active. You used to be able to see a chart of when your followers were active. I can't find out where that went, but it does give you some kind of insight on when your followers are active. So you can use that information to schedule your post or story or whatnot. But you can, use integrations like this to make it a little easier to manage your social media content and scheduling. It really it takes time. It 100% takes time to sit down and think about your post and plan out your post, and being able to schedule this in advance can be a tool to mitigate that kind of overwhelming feeling of having to schedule our stuff and all the posts that go into a month. But you can use stuff like this to make it a little easier. And if you have any questions, I can take those now. But that is what I have for you.
Thanks, Savannah. One thing I'm taking away is that if I put behind the scenes in the caption of my Instagram pictures, people will think I'm cool.
It is cooler.
Does that work for just people? Or is that just do I have to be doing something cool in order, like a farm?
I think you could do anything and say behind the scenes, and it's like, oh,
I feel empowered. Thank you.
Right.
Anybody have any questions? We do have a question came in. It said,
Yes.
what's going on, or if you're a Jerry Seinfeld Seinfeld fan, what's the deal with Instagram stories? It seems my stories are not being seen as much as before. Are videos being prioritized on stories? And I assume that means are like video or real versions of stories being prioritized over pictures.
Yes, so I have noticed that video related content, so reels on Instagram or Facebook Live, or even like reels that you can post reels on Facebook too, those are becoming more popular. And a tip with the reels, or anything that uses audio, if you attach audio that's popular on Instagram, and you can look, the audios will tell you how many uses each one has. Using audio that's also popular can boost the likelihood of people who aren't following you to see your video, because they're using audio that's popular, what all the cool kids are looking at now. So yeah, I have noticed that people are reels and video content is being prioritized over pictures, but that doesn't mean that pictures aren't important. They're still a good thing to do, and then stories are great too.
I have a good tip on that too, Savannah, just to hop in here, is you can also take photos and just make a reel with them and share that on your story. So you just go to your reels, just add all the photos you were going to add that day anyway, and then put some music behind that and share that to your story. I don't know, and just see how that works, and see if you maybe get more views with that. Because I wouldn't surprise me if the algorithm was prioritizing videos on stories, because we know that it is on feeds, just more eye-catching, people engage with them more, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a really good question, something we should look into more.
Yeah, that's true. Also, I've like my own Instagram has prompted me to make videos out of photos. So if you make a video out of photos, Instagram might help you do it too. So that can make it a little easier for you.
To emphasize one other thing that Savannah said, I think making sure that the information, even if you have a website or you have some other presence, making sure the information on your Facebook page and your Google business profile are like up to date, exactly what you want people to be seeing. Because as Camille was talking about search engine optimization, well, very few are as search engine optimized as Facebook, and certainly Google is going to prioritize its own result at number one. And so I know for me, when I Google a business, often I won't make it through to their website, and sometimes I won't even make it through to their Facebook page. And so across all of those social media and other online billboards, making sure that those things are up to date fits with the search engine optimization. It also fits with just being a good social media marketer. Well, Emily, if you want to get your presentation queued up, thanks, Savannah. If you have more questions for Savannah, feel free to drop them in the chat, and she can answer them there, or we can come back at the end and talk some more. But thank you very much. I really enjoyed the example posts. I thought that was really cool, and seeing some folks that we have interacted with is always fun too. So without much further ado, I will pass it off to Emily.
All right, thanks. Okay, so I think this is going to be really helpful actually to answer some of the questions that that Savannah and Camille both brought up, and some of the points they were making in terms of digital marketing in general and social media marketing. A lot of these questions can be answered with analytics. As crazy and abundant as analytics are, they are free insight into what our customers are looking for. So these are just some quotes that we have on here just to kind of show like how important analytics are for big companies. And if these big companies are using them, these extremely successful companies, obviously there must be a reason. And the one that I kind of bolded at the bottom there is the one I like the most, because we get free analytics from Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, and from Google. So that's all of our social media pages essentially, and our website, totally free analytics from these companies because they want us to use them, obviously. But the numbers themselves don't really have any value. So something that, you know, Brett and I have talked about a lot is like, okay, well, I can look at all these numbers, but like, does it mean anything if I'm getting a lot of reach on Facebook? You know, if it's not translating into transactions for me, if it's not translating into getting more customers, you know, into my store or into my farmer's market, then what's the point? So it's really kind of narrowing down what analytics numbers actually benefit you in your business. So we're going to look a little bit at that tonight. So what I decided to do for this was just kind of walk through how we with the CCD use analytics. So on our Facebook and Instagram pages, and then on our website. And I broke these down into 3 categories. So I broke it down into answering these questions essentially. So who is looking at our website? How did they get there? And what are they doing there? So, and each of the platforms, we're going to kind of look into those questions. And, you know, again, analytics are important because it helps us understand our customers more. And the more we understand our customers, the more we can tailor our marketing efforts to really speak to them instead of, you know, just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks. So this is, you know, going back to what Camille said about why digital marketing is so great. It's because we can have the ability to know exactly who our customers are, which is super different than like, you know, old school marketing of like throwing up something on a billboard or maybe a radio station, which, you know, both are still great, but it's a very, very different kind of more wide net approach. Whereas these analytics can really tell us like, your customer is literally this exact profile and here's how to market to them. So we're just going to look at, you know, how to answer these 3 questions on both of those platforms. And then I can go through with you all of any questions you have as well about, you know, about how do you use your analytics. So this is a good page if you're interested in analytics to maybe take a screenshot of or take a picture of. So the dark green ones on the left side, those are the terminology like buttons or categories that you will actually click on to answer these questions. So for Google Analytics, you find your audience under the word audience. It's pretty obvious. Same with Meta. How did they get there? On Google, they call that acquisition. On Meta, it's not as straightforward. So I said that we're going to look at insights overview to try to get a better understanding of how they got there, or maybe why they got there. And then for Google, to find out what they're doing there, so what they're doing on your website, you're going to go to the behavior tab. And then on Meta, to figure out what your customer is doing there, we're going to look at content overview. Okay, and the analytics that we get from those categories are going to try to, you know, help us answer those questions a little bit. And feel free to drop questions in the chat as I'm going, and then I can look at them at the end, and then we can answer them then. So forgive me as I click around on here. Hopefully I don't lose my screen sharing stuff. I think I have to maybe stop share and then reshare.
Yeah, so you're showing you the PowerPoint thing
Okay.
only.
Okay, so I'm going to stop share and then click over to my other pages.
Giving a look behind the curtain here. I like that.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not as savvy as I would like to be.
No, I
okay.
meant
Behind the scenes.
analytics. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
See what the sausage is made.
Okay, so now you can see my web browser, correct? You're seeing my Facebook page?
Correct.
Okay, sweet. Okay, so because we just hopped off the social media one, we're going to look at the Facebook analytics first. So you probably know, but Facebook and Instagram are both under the extremely mysterious title of Meta now. So to look at our Facebook analytics, we're going to go to this button on the left-hand side over here called Meta Business Suite. So that's going to our business page from our just like interactive page. We're going to go to the back end essentially of our business page. And then over here on the left-hand side again, you have this button that says Insights. So here we go. So this is just a dashboard, kind of shows you an overview of, you know, what's going on with your page. I like to look at it on a month basis, which I'm not going to, oh yeah, let's see. Yeah, that's about a month. So we'll leave it. Just so it gives me a better picture, than a week. Whereas a week I might have made 1 or 2 posts. It doesn't really tell me much about how people are interacting with my page. But a month or even 60 to 90 days is even better, especially if you've been tracking what you've been doing on there. It kind of gives you a better picture of how people are, actually looking at your page and what they're doing with it. So here we go. So let's see, this first, or all of your buttons are going to be on the left-hand side here, right? So these are all the different categories we can look at. Sorry, I actually switched this up. I was going to do Google Analytics first, and now I'm doing Facebook first. So just give me 1 second. Okay, so first, we're looking at who was coming to our page, right? So that's where we answer this question by looking at this button, audience. So I set this goal, I think last week, 8th of May to 5th of June, that I want to gain 12 page likes on Facebook. That was just for fun, just to kind of see what it meant. Doesn't really mean much, but it does help tailor ads for that specific goal, which is kind of cool. We don't run ads on our CCD page because we're more of just an educational, informational page. We're not really selling stuff, I guess, just selling ideas. So we don't run any ads, but would be a really cool way to, that Facebook just kind of generates that for you based on your goals. So right now I'm scrolling down, you can see that I'm looking at my current audience, this is on the left-hand side, we got Facebook page followers. On the right-hand side, we have Instagram page followers. You can see we have a lot more Facebook page followers. I think in general, that's probably the trend, with our kinds of businesses. But we have a little bit older demographic on Facebook as compared to Instagram. Not too bad. A lot of overlap there, obviously, in this 35 to 44 range, but definitely more women than men on both profiles. It breaks it down into the cities. We got most in Lexington. We're coming out of Lexington, so that makes sense. Country is not really relevant to any of us here. All right, so that's how we can look at, on Facebook and Instagram, just kind of a broad overview of like, I'm trying to think about, what is my customer profile? What is the kind of person that actually shops at my store that's interested in my stuff? Just kind of get a good idea so that when you're tailoring your marketing campaigns later on. And Facebook does a really good job of, if you do run an ad exactly on Facebook, it will auto-populate this information for you. But let's say you're taking this information to make a change at your store or at your farmer's market booth. Maybe you want to make it more, like we have I don't know how I would do it specifically here. I can't think off the top of my head, but it kind of helps you take it offline into your in-person marketing as well, which is really nice. So for the how, I actually
would it be okay if I share an example that I sometimes have given
absolutely
there? So
absolutely.
like if you're a food business, or you're selling products that people eat, and if you looked at your analytics and they didn't look like ours, it looked like there was a lot of men over 50, for instance, in your demographics. It might be that you want to actually target. We know in general, women under the age of 45, between the ages of 25 and 45, are making a lot of the food purchasing decisions for a household. And so if my analytics are showing me that the audience that I'm reaching is people who aren't making the food purchasing decisions in the household, then I need to be doing something different to reach an audience that is the one that I would actually be targeting. Conversely, if I'm very into guitars and woodworking, both those are examples of fields where it's mostly old guys that are buying stuff. And so I would be trying to tailor my marketing in that case to reach those audiences. And I may think strategically about what types of things to include. If I were trying to target the food decision purchasing people, I might include recipes, or I might include some kind of a cooking video, or look for a partnership with a local chef or some other personality of some sort in order to do that. And so I think in our case, this reflects what horticulture in Kentucky and in the region looks like. It's a lot of younger women engaged in this field, which is awesome. And so we're happy to do it. But sorry, I just had an example, and anyway, there it is.
No, thank you. That was literally a perfect example, exactly how you could use it in real time. Thank you so much. It's extremely helpful. Okay, so now we know who's looking at our page. Now we're going to look at how they're interacting with our page. So on, social media operates a little bit differently than a website, where a website can tell us exactly how they got there. Social media won't tell us that because obviously they found us on the app, right? It's pretty straightforward. But it does tell us how they're interacting with our page. And so we see here we have reach. This whole category right here is reach. We have audience. This is our insights overview. So reach is, it kind of shows us the people that see our content. So not necessarily the people that are interacting with it. That's what we call engagement, but the pages that our content shows up on. So, you know, we can see, let's see, what are these dates? The last 28 days is what I have this set for right now. So our reach is up, and that's pretty much solely because we've just been posting more. So I'm not going to read too much into this right now. You know, I'm going to wait maybe 2 more months after we made this big change in our social media plans. I'm going to wait probably 3 months to actually get an idea of how, you know, what's working and what's not. So these numbers are kind of crazy right now just because we've been posting a lot more, but still helpful. But the most helpful thing that I like to look at on the and this kind of content insights is this video performance. You know, just like Margie was saying, you know, video is being prioritized in our feeds much more than photos are. And that is because there's an underlying reason for that. So Facebook and Instagram will always prioritize your personal relationships over businesses because they want it to be an actual social media, right? It started out as people just sharing lives, like sharing their lives with each other, and then it turned into this business thing. And they're really trying to get back to the heart of like, no, we really want people to connect online and connect with this community. So the more you act like a human being and the more that you interact with people like a human being, the more your business Instagram will get prioritized and will show up on people's pages. So people really like videos because they're easier to connect with than photos. You know, obviously photos are much easier on the content creator side. But as far as viewing, I get a lot more insight out of a 30-second video than I do staring at one photo, particularly when I'm just scrolling through my feed, right? And you're just like, just scrolling. But if I see like a photo of a baby cow, it's super cute. But if I see like a video of a baby cow trotting next to a baby, next to its mom and like frolicking in the field, like I'm going to get much more enjoyment out of that. It's also just like much more personable. Anyway, kind of a tangent there, but that's just kind of showing us why Facebook and Instagram are prioritizing videos because they're much more like personable posts. Okay, so this is the video performance overview. So this is extremely helpful because one, right, videos are being prioritized. So we really want to be able to, we want to be posting videos. So we've been trying to post more videos on our CCD page. This tells us in the last 28 days, 459 minutes of our videos viewed. So even if that comes from, you know, I don't know, 200 viewers, so they weren't really watching for that long, that's still a lot of minutes that our content is being viewed by our followers. You know, we only have 2,800 followers. So that's pretty good. I think I'm okay with that. And what's really nice is that you can go see at a big picture, you know, which videos were viewed the most. Like, okay, May 8th, I can go back to my content planner over here and see which video was posted that day and why that one was the most engaging. Maybe I had a good title on it. Maybe I had a good hook at the beginning, you know, got really people excited, that kind of stuff. It also shows you over here, which is pretty cool, you know, what percentage of the people that saw it were your followers and non-followers, that kind of stuff, which we're talking about that reach versus maybe engagement. So most people that see our videos are our followers. Which is cool because that's what we want as like an educational platform. We're trying to really engage the people that already follow us as a priority. So my scrolling's a little wonky here, so I apologize. I don't know if you're seeing that or not, but this kind of breaks down all of the videos that we've made and ranks them. You can rank them in, you know, minutes viewed, maybe 1 minute views. 1 minute views is obviously the best, but Facebook will actually count it as an engagement if you get at least 3 seconds of viewers. That's how like short our attention spans are. That if it's 3 seconds, it counts as like, yes, they're actually engaged with you, which is pretty crazy, but helpful nonetheless. So, you know, in those first 3 seconds, maybe that's the most critical period to actually get someone engaged. But you can see, you know, our two most watched videos, most like minutes viewed. So 160 minutes viewed and 94 minutes viewed out of these two. These are both Facebook Lives. So I know Savannah mentioned Facebook Lives a little bit. We've done 2 of them, and they're our 2 most popular videos right now. Just because they're really informal, and again, they're super personable. So they're showing up on people's feeds. Whereas, you know, something like this, that's like a cool, just like graphic video might not show up as much. Just kind of nice. You can go through here again, just see how people are interacting with your pages, with your the content that you're creating, which I think is extremely helpful, particularly for the video stuff. And then last but not least, on the Meta side, this is just our content overview. So when we're talking about what people are actually doing on our page, again, reach, not what we're looking at, because that's how many people we're reaching, not that people are actually like engaging with our content, but here's the engagement. So this is the juicy stuff, the important stuff. So these are people that are actually taking the time to either like, comment, view our video for 3 seconds, maybe share it or message us, that kind of stuff. So they're actually engaged, right? So that's like where that purchasing power would come from, not just from someone seeing it, but from someone actually engaging with it. Again, our stuff is a little wonky, so ignore our crazy numbers. This is our median post reaction, so 14. I know there's a ratio of like, you know, how many followers to engagement you should get on a post. We don't look at that too much. And then this is something I like to look at a lot, because I think this is extremely helpful in terms of understanding, you know, what are we posting that's actually working, and working to me is what's getting engaged. So this one, the highest reach on a post, right? So reach is how many people saw it. So this post reached 635% more accounts than our normal post, our average post, which is pretty crazy. But I know it's because a lot of extension agents shared this Facebook post out so that their constituents could see it, right? So it's not necessarily going to people who necessarily you know, want to see it or are coming there to see it specifically. Helpful, but not what I'm really interested in right now. These two are more interesting to me. So this picture of Camille. It's our Team Tuesday post of Camille, highest reactions on a post. This got 1900% more reactions. So got 100 reactions total, which is really, really good than our average post. And then this one of Brett, his Team Tuesday post, also got the most comments we have, which is 17 comments. So, you know, this is kind of going back to that. Obviously, the algorithm prioritizes faces, right? They want us to act like people. So really cool. And I think also as a, you know, a business owner, prioritizing, you know, especially if you're in the direct to consumer space, like so much of your brand is who you are and who your family is and that kind of stuff, the relationships you build with customers. So it will always prioritize faces, and this is obvious right there. All right, so now I'm going to pop over to Google Analytics. So you can see my top of my screen here. I'm going to go to Analytics on the left-hand side. So in order to have a Google Analytics, you just have to make an account. It's super easy. You can just type in Google Analytics into Google. You can make an account, and then if you are the owner of a web page, you can have an account on here. And I'm not the owner of our web pages, but Brett is, and so he added me on here, so you can add other users as well. Okay, so it's getting mad at me up here because they're actually about to migrate to another platform, kind of. Not a big deal, just ignore that big red thing. I was gonna do it, but then I was worried I was gonna crash before this presentation, and I didn't want that to happen, so I could still show you all this. Okay, so if we're thinking back on our 3 questions that we're trying to answer. So first one is, who is reaching our page? So this is giving us data for our uky.edu/ccd page, so our actual web page where all of our publications live, our price reports live, all that kind of stuff. So this is just kind of like a back end thing of it. So I'm going to go to audience. On audience, let's see. Okay, yeah, we'll just do overview. So this is super helpful because let's see, what am I? I have this just for 1 week. So I like to do it for more than that just because it gives me a better picture. So I'm going to go 6 weeks. Why? Okay. So now it's going to give me more accurate data to some trends. So in the past 6 weeks on our website, we've had 7,200 users and 6,700 of those were new users. You can see this pie chart over here too. That's pretty crazy. So that tells me that people find our website once, they find what they're looking for, and then maybe they don't come back to look for other things. You know, they have that one thing that was interesting to them, but it's not necessarily that they're interested in what we do more broadly, or maybe it's that they don't know what we do more broadly, right? So they found on a search engine exactly what they were looking for, click, got it, got the information. I don't need to, maybe they didn't even register that it was from the CCD, right? It could just be whatever information they were looking for. So that's kind of interesting. Not super unique, but interesting nonetheless. Language, obviously we're going to be English most often. Not crazy interesting. You can like do these things like set up audiences and look at very specific demographics if you want to do that. But we don't do too much of that honestly because we don't run ads again. But demographics, you can see an overview of age and gender just like you can see on Meta. Like Brett was saying, if this doesn't line up with broader data that we know or that kind of stuff, or the things, or maybe the gender or the age of people that you're trying to reach, then maybe those are some questions that you can try to ask about why that could be. This one is a little interesting to me, and I won't go too much into it because I don't know exactly how useful it is, but interesting nonetheless, where you go to this audience interest, and so the internet will tag people based on their interests, and then they're kinds of, it's showing us the groups of people that are coming to our website. Just super interesting. So like technology enthusiasts are somehow finding our website, that kind of stuff. Food and drink, veggies, obviously that makes sense. Home and garden, obviously that makes sense as well. Landscaping, that kind of stuff. Just super interesting stuff. Okay, so we got who was looking at it, how they got here. So this is, I think, one of the most useful parts of the Google Analytics. I like what they're doing there and how they got there much more than the audience. I think it's incredibly interesting and also helpful when we're thinking about how we're structuring our web page. So hold on, I'm having some scroll issues here. Let's see if I can. Okay, here we go. I don't know, my thing keeps overlapping with one another, so I can't see all of my drop downs. Okay, so acquisition, again, is how people are getting there. So that means how people are finding your website and how they're getting to it in general. So we're going to go to acquisition, all traffic, channels. So what this is essentially is telling us exactly how people got to our web page. So acquisition, right? Like we're acquiring a new customer. So most of the people, and I think this is a very typical trend, got it out of an organic search. So they were just searching something on the internet, were clicking around and came to our page. It wasn't from a paid ad. It wasn't directly from somewhere else that was linking to us or anything like that. Secondly, people are coming to us directly. So that's pretty good. They're coming to us, they're searching the CCD, they're finding us, and they're coming to our webpage. Third is social. So they're coming to us from social media. And then referral. Referral is kind of cool because it shows you, what other websites are linked to your website, and that's how people are getting there. So the number one is people are coming from the Kentucky Agriculture, the Department of Ag website onto our page. So we have some things linked on there, which I think are the price reports for the farmers markets, and the produce auctions are linked on the Kentucky Department of Ag's website, and then they come straight to us from there, which is pretty cool. Okay, I need to speed this up, I think. So we're going to go to behavior, which is by far the most helpful analytic anyway. So behavior is, again, what people are doing on our page, right? So we're going to go to behavior overview. Okay, so these are If we're looking at what people are actually doing on our website, these are the pages that they're looking at the most often. So we have our price reports. Our price reports are by far the most popular thing people are coming to our website for, if you can't tell. We have the farmers market ones, and then the produce auctions as well. So our percentage this is showing you what percentage of your page views are that page. Pretty interesting. And then this one is also really helpful, I think, the behavior flow. So it looks a little scary and confusing, but really what it's doing is just showing you. So when people come here, I'm going to highlight this. Try right through here. So if people are coming to look at the Fairview page on our website, these are the next pages that they're clicking onto. So it's really cool because you can see like, oh, people who are interested in this are also interested in these 3 things. So I need to make sure to make it easy to get from this page to these pages, which I think Brett will talk about a little bit when talking about how to structure your pages. But if we know people are coming most often to look at, maybe our produce auction reports, what are other things they're interested in that we need to link on that page they can get to? So it just kind of tells you, an easy way to actually structure your pages. Let's see. There was one more thing I wanted to show you all. I think it was on acquisition. Oh yeah, Search Console. So this one is extremely helpful and also interesting to me. So this is on acquisition, Search Console, landing pages. So these are when people are using, like, let's say Google, or I think Bing is the other one that it includes to search for things. And this is going back to Camille, search engine optimization. We're popping up somehow. So you can see that our sorghum crop profile is popping up a lot. That's our #1 most happened upon profile. So if we click on that, these are the things that people are Googling and they're coming to our page from it. So this can be super helpful if you're a business trying to sell stuff, right? Because you can understand, oh, well, people are finding us by, it might be something super obscure that you posted, a blog post about a year ago, but somehow people are getting to your page from that. So that could help you you could optimize your page by mentioning those keywords more often, things that are getting people to your page more often, that kind of stuff. Okay, and then the last thing really quick I want to show you all before I get out of here is, okay, I'm gonna have to actually type in page. So this is, you see how I just typed in our page, but all of this crazy stuff popped up. That's not normal. That's because I have a extension on Google Chrome called Page Analytics. Totally free. You can just add it to your Google Chrome. You can turn it on and off. And this is really nice because it actually shows you on your, so this is our homepage on our CCD page. It shows you exactly what percentage of people are clicking on which button. So people come to this homepage, almost a quarter of people that come to our page are clicking on this price report button right off the bat. I'm not the website overlord, but I'm assuming that's why it's on top. Because obviously that's what people are coming here to look at. That's what's the most important to the most people. So it really gives you a good idea of the kinds of things you need to have on your homepage, the kinds of things maybe you don't need to have on your homepage. Maybe it looks nice and you like to have it on there, but if it's not useful for people and if people just have to click through more things to get to the thing they actually want to do, your bounce rate's going to be higher, which means people are just going to exit out and be like, oh, forget about it. It's taking me more than 3 seconds to find the thing I wanted. And they're no longer going to interact with your page. So this is pretty cool. 16% of people, that's a significant number of people coming to look. They're learning, they want to, get research on how to learn how to be a more successful grower and marketer, that kind of stuff. Just a super easy, again, useful, cheap or free tool that you can use for your own page. And then I will stop it there because now I feel like I'm rambling. But if anyone has any questions at all about analytics, you can ask now. You can also send us an email and we can kind of look if you have a specific individual question. I'd be happy to oh yeah,
this
okay,
is your overlord speaking.
Yeah, I see Margie's question.
The website overlord speaking. So Margie was making a request that we please show how to find analytics on an individual post in Meta again.
Absolutely.
And
Okay, let me share.
I'll just while Emily's pulling that up, I'll just emphasize two things. One is that if you have not yet set up your Facebook profile as a business page, you have to do that in order to get access to this insight stuff that Emily is showing. And so, in other words, you have to have it as you have to have it as a page, and you need to basically you have to have a certain number of followers before that stuff will accrue. But if you already have a business page set up, regardless of whether you've ever accessed this or not, it has been collecting that information for you, and you can go back and look at your robust portfolio of insights. However, Google Analytics, you have to take action in order for that to happen. So if you've had a website for 10 years and you did not install Google Analytics in the first place, then that means you probably don't have any of that data that Emily was talking about. Now, the best time to install Google Analytics and plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. I would encourage you to do that. And when I install is really a generous term. It's basically you go in and you create an account like in what Emily was just showing you, and you're going to copy a tag. And almost all the website builders now have a place that you go in and you just paste that tag in there. And that's basically telling Google, hey, track this page according to this using these tags. It's so much easier than it used to be, even easier than when we set up the CCD page in the first place. But we actually had to take action in order to get those Google Analytics data to populate. So did that kill enough time there, Emily?
Yeah, great. No, that was a super good point. I was going to mention that too. Nice job. Okay, so this is just our normal Facebook feed. When I go to Facebook for our business, this is what I'm looking at. And then I go over here to Meta Business Suite. This is what Brett was talking about to set, if you're set up as a business page. And then we're going to look at insights here on the left. And then content overview, and then content. So if you want to look at specific posts, you can go to content. And this has, well, my page is zoomed in. Try to zoom out a little. This has all of our things combined, which I don't really like looking at them all combined because it gets confusing to me. So you can go over here to the right-hand side and unclick things. So we don't do ads, take those out. I'll take the stories out for now just to make it simpler to look at. So we're just looking at my Facebook and Instagram posts. Really nice. You can do, you can sort it by reach or likes and reactions, that kind of stuff. So I'll sort these by likes and reactions. That's the opposite way I want to sort it. I'll sort it ascending. There we go. So from here we can see, okay, yeah, these top 3 ones, these are all face posts. And these are obviously our most popular. This one is also like a very personable post. It's not like an educational post by any means. It's, hey, look at this really cool thing that we did as a group. This one actually is different. This one is an educational post, but you can see that it has a really, really big reach. That means that it was shared by a lot of people. And I also know just from monitoring the page that a lot of extension agents shared this post as well. So they really liked the information we were sharing. And because it was shared so many times, we got a lot of likes and reactions. So these first 4 ones, are more organic in the sense of we just posted and a lot of people liked what we posted. And then this one, was a little bit different. And I just know that from being involved with the data. But does that answer your question, Margie? Is that what you're talking about? Or do you want to look at the video one specifically? I can't see chat.
She said that's perfect.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that's Emily mentioned earlier. She said that our social media had undergone a big change, and the big change is that Emily has organized and done the social media overhaul to get the CCD back on track. So if you've seen the cool reels and the fun stuff, by and large, that's been Emily's work. And so I appreciate it, because I was, as we were talking through stuff earlier, I was thinking about how Savannah could very easily be talking to me and saying, this should be fun. And I say, well, well, I don't know. I kind of got burnt out on social media for a little while there, and as you can see, we have an amazing team in place now that's very inspiring and talented, and so a lot of the stuff that's coming out is coming from them. So anyway, all that to say, yeah, Margie, it's hitting her Facebook feed a lot more. So I am looking at the time. I'm looking at. I guess I can go ahead and share a little bit about what I was going to show you all. Ultimately, it's just a nuts and bolts strategy for how to think about doing website development and just creating a basic plan. And so this is a little bit new. And I guess I should share my screen before I do that, huh? Let's see. Okay. So ultimately, the actual web design process is something that I've covered in a lot longer form back actually during early COVID, or maybe maybe the fall of 2020. We did a series and it's a little more in depth, but I thought I'd give the crash course in how I might think about setting up a plan for developing a website. I'm not going to go into the color theory and the font selection in the ways that I did in that previous one. I'm going to focus instead on some organizational considerations, as well as just a couple of the tools you might consider using. So before we jump in, I would say that if you are looking to do this and you haven't thought about it before, or I am old enough to have remembered a time where it was almost unthinkable for a normal person off the street to just come in and build a website. It was something that was hired out. I also couldn't help but listen in Emily's presentation. She was talking about customers and how do we get here, that I couldn't help but hear the talking heads. So that might put a little context on my experience with websites. But I have used a number of different website builders to develop things as they've gotten easier and more user friendly. Now it's very, very simple. If you can type and format a Word document, you can very likely build a website now. So before we think about the options for how to do that, though, I want to just ask the question of, do you actually need one? This is something that in general, in life, in marketing, in all these different fields, I am a fan of only adding complexity when it is necessary and when it's useful and helpful. And so just to recap some of the stuff that we've talked about tonight, I would go through the list and I would make sure that I'm doing email marketing really well. I would make sure that I'm doing social media really well. And if you haven't done Facebook yet, try Facebook. If you are doing Facebook and you're interested in meeting or reaching new customers or different folks, Instagram might be a way that you want to do that. And Emily just showed us, and Savannah showed us as well, ways that we can co-manage those since they're owned by the same entity. I would make sure that my Google business profile is up to date. And I would, if you have all those optimized and they're all doing their thing that they're supposed to do, and you still find the need to have a website, then that's when I would move into this type of conversation. And so the things that a website can do for you, it can help you have a more completely personalizable presence on the internet. That's one thing it can do. A Facebook page is always going to look like a Facebook page, even though you put your images and your content in, it's still going to have that aesthetic. So if you really want to have control over your little corner of the internet, that would be one reason to do it. I think another reason might be if you're trying to do some e-commerce, if you're trying to sell stuff online, pre-orders for farmers markets or CSAs or whatever, if you're trying to, maybe you're doing some other type of business where you can actually ship stuff and that's part of what you're trying to do. I think it makes a lot of sense to do this. If there are other specific things, functions that you're not able to take advantage of on Facebook or on Instagram, or maybe you just don't like those and you're opposed to it, then this might be something to think about. But in general, don't let someone convince you that just because websites are a thing that can be done now easier than ever and often cheaper than you might expect, don't think that you have to have a website. Only add it. It's like a tractor, you know. If you have a small scale operation, maybe all you need is a walk behind. Don't assume you're going to need the big piece of equipment until you actually have a good reason to do it. So if you do decide that you'd like to do it, a couple of the different platforms you might take a look at are have first here Square, and there was the artist formerly known as Weebly back during early COVID. little before that, actually, I think. Square, that's the one that, you swipe your card to pay at a farmer's market, or many of your local small businesses likely use for credit card payments, purchased Weebly. And so they're all integrated into one happy family now, or at least it's a family nonetheless. And if you already have Square, you already have access to a web builder of sorts, and you can then go through and figure out a way to make that work. Which is what I'm gonna show you a little bit of a demo within that. But Squarespace, Wix, WordPress, and Shopify, I think they all kind of have different aesthetic qualities. They look a little bit different. I like Squarespace because it looks kind of hip and cool, and I would say high concept, high tech. Generally speaking, that may be dated. That may look like 2012 to someone who's a little younger than me. So if that's your demographic, then that might be something that you want to think about. But in general, a lot of them are very similar. And so what you need to find, just like with record keeping, just like with any number of different things that we know we need to do, finding a system that works for you and a version of the editor and all that stuff that works for you, that you like, and then doing it well is the most important thing. So I was thinking about like a metaphor here. And when I go about, and I, back in 2015, I guess, was tasked with completely overhauling and reorganizing and restructuring the CCD website, the one that Emily just pointed out. And I used a lot of those tools that she was talking about on our old analytics. And I also used the in-page analytics to try to figure out what the hell that was going to look like. But once I had an idea of what we were going to do, I started to assemble. I think it was kind of like assembling a shopping list. So I went through and I made a shopping list listing out all the different pages, and I created lists of things that I was going to want on each of those pages. So that I'm talking down to we need copy, we need language for farmers market marketing. I need a picture of farmers markets, and I need the set of links that goes out to all the different publications that we have related to that. And that's going to be on the farmers market page. Creating that shopping list, now I know exactly the things I need to have. The next step that I did is analogous to going to the grocery and doing a little bit of prep on the ingredients, which is to make some sub file folders of those website pages, and then gather the items and put them into that cart, into that folder according to what I was going to need. This is about getting organized. If you have ever worked in a kitchen, or if you've ever cooked and had the opportunity to do actual prep and have everything laid out ahead of cooking, you know how much easier it makes things. You also know that prep is almost all of the work in that case. Almost all of the effort and time and energy is prep, which is done ahead of time. So it's kind of a nice parallel here. I would say often we create websites without much of a plan for how they're going to be used. In the same way that I said, do you even need one in the first place? Okay, great. If you said yes, a resounding yes, then you need to determine what it is that you need that website to do. And so in other words, if you're trying to sell stuff, you're going to want to feature your shop or your online, purchasing mechanism. If you're just trying to tell the fuller story of what your farm is, you're going to want to prioritize a page that emphasizes those elements of your farm, the pictures, the story, etc. But the more that you can ahead of time, rather than building this thing as you go and then it becomes a sprawling mess, if you can have a nice, neat list of items and then assemble those items into a usable form, and I'm going to show you the exact way that I just did this on an example. And then the last step is cooking. And that part is a little bit easier if you've done all your prep first. So you're putting everything together, and then you can pay a little bit closer attention to what looks good, how we might want to move a picture around, or we might want to change that, the way that things are laid out, or whatever. In general, as I mentioned, just to go back real quick, these web builders have now fantastic templates, like absolutely wonderful templates. They have employed some graphic designers and people who know what works, and they're pretty tweakable. And so again, I'm not going to go super far into the nuts and bolts of aesthetic design on websites. We've done that a little bit in the past, and we could do that in maybe a different format in the future. But I'm going to work off of just a simple template that they have here in a minute. But once you get if ahead of time, part of your prep might be that you want to go in and make sure all the fonts look the way that you want them to, all the colors look the way that you want them to. And then it's just a matter of migrating your content in. So these are those steps broken down a little bit more explicitly. So I was imagining a hypothetical farm that I was operating and building a website for. And the Roman numeral, the I, the II, the IV, all those, that is 4 simple pages. And many basic farm websites are going to have that many pages, 3, 4 at most, because you don't want to overwhelm your visitor. Like the CCD, we have hundreds and hundreds of pages because we have a lot of different resources, but we still have put a lot of energy into structuring them. Don't make it any more complicated than it needs to be for your customer, because we don't want to frustrate them, like Emily was talking about earlier. We want to give them a clear action that we would like them to do, and we want to make the experience very simple and straightforward. And I've used as an example of something that I did before on streamlining a page. I had built a website and there was a button for the homepage on the homepage. And so I was able to use analytics to see that people clicked on the homepage button and it just refreshed the homepage. And so the simple thing that I did was just delete the homepage button off of the homepage, and suddenly people are less frustrated. And so in the similar way here, we only want as much information as we want to convey and need to convey, and we will limit it to that. So this is an example of my shopping list. And so what I did earlier today was I went through and I created subfolders for each of those pages. There's a farm page, a home page, people page, shop page. And under each of them, I dropped in a photo. Now, these are stock photos. You would want to get these off your phone or wherever else. This took the longest part of the whole process. I created these file folders based on that list. I actually did write some copy, though it's mostly filler text at this point. And I found some pictures and put them in there. Savannah's tip about ChatGPT could be used here as well. I will tell you, writing the copy, gathering the pictures, deciding on where all that stuff is going to come from is the hardest part of this whole process. Or it's the most time consuming, I'll put it that way. And so we often put it off and put it off and put it off. And that's why there's a bajillion websites out there for small businesses that say under construction, under construction, under construction everywhere on their website. In general, I'm not going to put something up. I'm not going to publish it unless I already have content on it. And so it could be that, again, if you're not prioritizing the website, maybe that you need to ask yourself whether this is something that you actually want to do in the first place. But at the very least, keep stuff hidden, unpublish it until you have content available that you're really wanting to share. So we've gone through, we've made a list. We have assembled our ingredients and done some prep work here. So I'm just going to go in and build a simple web page. I'm going to focus just on the farm one here. And so I'm going to try to have a couple of windows open. So let's cook is what it says, just to not kill the punchline. So I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to get out my notes here. And I'm going to open my, I was making sure it was a Talking Head song. So I didn't look like a fool. So this is Weebly. Not Weebly anymore. This is Square. And let me see, do I need to do a new share, Emily? Or can you all see?
We can see. Looks
Okay,
good.
perfect. So this is just a dummy page that I created. I've used it on a number of different demos. I think I created it back during early COVID when we were trying to figure out how to help people pivot. And so all I'm going to do here is I'm going to work off of, and I've also got my my file folder here. I'm going to create a page, and we're going to call it, or just do a blank page, and we're going to call it farm because that's what we said we wanted to call it. And we're going to add it to the navigation. And it's going to think for a second. And now, boom, it's showing up over here in our navigation. And so now I'm on this page. I've got all these different components here that I can edit. These are all part of it highlights what I'm looking at a given moment. I'm going to add a section here. And in that section, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to say, give us text and an image. And I want the image to be pretty big. And let's see here. Let's add that. And so now I want the section height to be maybe a little bit bigger. And if I've already uploaded some images, but I'm just going to click here. Oops. I'm going to add an image. And I've got my list over here. So I'm not even having to really, I was going to upload one so you guys could see how it works. So I've got my file folders all here, and I'm looking to add the drone farm photo. So I'm just going to, I see what you were dealing with the overlapping windows, Emily. There we go. I'm going to drop in the drone picture. See, it says drag files here, click to upload. I'm just going to drag it in. And it's going to think for a second. It's going to upload. Hit done. Let's see if it. Don't give up on me now, Square. Oh, exceeds file limit. Too big of a picture. So let's just say we're going to do family. The family picture at the top. Click that. It's going to put it in here. Now, let's say I want some text down here underneath. I've done some prep work here. And so I'm just going to open this up here. And this is going to open a Word document. And I put together some stuff about what our farm vitals are. So these are some of the key statistics about our farm. And so I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to copy. I'm going to paste. And I may need to go in and play around with some formatting here and say farm vitals. I'm going to edit that, and then I might add in, let's go ahead and add, let's click off of here, and let's add in maybe just, so you can see it updated. Let's add one more section with another photo. I'm going to select text and image. And in this case, I want to maybe select, let's do this kind of layout and say we're done. Click here. So you could see that all of the systems that we use for this have a slightly different way that they go about, addressing and editing these different components. But once you get a hang of the system and the way that it particularly works, you can go through and navigate it pretty quickly. So let's go ahead and add some pictures of some nice lettuce. And again, so this is an example of what not to do, or maybe an example of how, if I don't have any copy pre-written, I'm going to have to either think of it on the fly and maybe run the risk of putting something in that doesn't have very good, it hasn't been edited. It just so happens that I'm a smart guy and I did put some copy together. This was 4 ways to support our farm that I had put together. This isn't, if I'm trying to, again, have a clear message about here's the way that you can get our products. Then I want to make sure that that's, on my farm landing page, or that's on my place that I'm trying to direct people to. And the point here, again, is not to give you a full crash course in how to do web design. It's just to give you an idea of the structure that I use for organizing everything. And one of the things I think we all find ourselves repeating ourselves about over and over and over again across all of these Marketing for All modules is that you need to start with a very clear and very defined sense of what your business is, what your products are, and what your target market is. Because if you don't have those goals, if you don't have that identity in the first place, it's very hard to do something like make a website or make an effective social media post or an effective social media page. That central thing, and I think we've all said it in different ways, the brand that you bring to market, particularly in direct marketing scenarios, is absolutely the essential information that you're trying to get across to people. And that can be in a number of different formats. Website's just one of those. But all of this planning and all of the best font in the world that's not conveying a good cohesive brand identity it's just gonna fall flat. So I'm gonna stop there. I just wanted to show you a little bit of that process and leave some time for questions here. Let's see here. Cool. Well, does anybody have any questions or thoughts or anything they wanted to share? Any feedback from my teammates on the any of my presentation or anybody else's?
Yeah, we have one question, Brett. When designing, what should be done to optimize it? Are tags still a thing?
Each page typically does have keywords. I think that the tag thing can work. Most of the tagging stuff I think now is internal, so it's like blog posts, for instance. And I don't think that the individual page tagging on those types of what they call them WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get style of web designers. I personally would be looking to make sure that all of, again, I'm calling it copy, the text that we put out onto our various, web pages, for kind of like along the lines of what Camille was saying, making sure that our content and our copy is really, really good. It's robust. It contains all the words and the concepts that we want people to be looking for when they're searching for, or that we want people to find our website when they search them. Actual content on the page. I think part of the reason why we have success with the search engine optimization with the CCD is just because of the boatload of content that is on there. There's just a lot of cross references, and those words are used in a lot of different places all across the site. Excuse me. But I think for a small, simple website, most of the search engine optimization is done like at the site level. And it's as opposed to like a per page basis, if that makes sense. And it actually, like Square and Weebly and others, they have like a search engine optimization section where you can go in and put they've made things a lot more user friendly. I will say, I mean, search engine optimization is like a multi-billion-dollar industry now. And so it is competitive. There are ways that you can try to game the system, but in some cases we're just trying to do the best that we can with the tools that we have available. So that's
I know something that I ran into when I used to design websites was like, I always wanted to put like super high quality photos, which is necessary. But also, there's a limit where if it's super, super high quality, then it'll slow your website down and then it'll get kicked down in the search engine optimization. So kind of figuring out, I don't know if that's something you can Google, but kind of what that happy balance is between quality and load time, because the slower your website loads, the less people stay on it and the less it'll get optimized.
Yeah, and I think one thing we all have to remember too, and I have to remember particularly because I am not a phone generation person, is that most people will be viewing your web product on their phone. Just by the numbers, that's our CCD site. Most people are not on a desktop; they're either on a tablet or a phone, and it's a similar. And so, in that case, the lower quality photo can actually be okay because it's such a tiny screen. So yeah. Do you all have any other thoughts you wanted to share? We really covered a lot of ground tonight.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'll actually share my screen really fast just so we can share the rest of the clusters.
I'm putting a link to the evaluation in the chat. If you wouldn't mind to fill that out, that would be wonderful.
So at the beginning, Brett was talking about if you all would like us to do this more often, or if we should wait until, the off season again. But these are on the left here is essentially our normal marketing for all modules that we go out to the extension offices and around the state to do. And then these are these little clusters where we've kind of grouped different ones together. And I think these would also really work super well in an in-person, meeting. So if this is something you all are interested in, if there's like several producers in your area that would also be interested in it, that's something we could do and really tailor it to your group, which could be really cool. But these are just some of the other clusters that we've thought about doing, like this marketing strategies for the farmers market, I think is a really cool one. We'll really get into different market signs, visual merchandising and sampling, and then personal selling skills, all things that are really necessary for the farmers market. Just wanted to put that out there. We have these on our social media pages as well. And then here's our contact information if you have any further questions about anything we talked about tonight at all, or any other marketing questions or anything about the website, anything like that, please reach out.
What's our social handles?
It's at CCDUKY
Yeah.
on Facebook and Instagram. And then YouTube is, I'm not sure.
Well, thanks for joining us, Lisa. We're happy to do it. We just want to make sure we're getting stuff out to people who want it and need it. And if you have thoughts, please share them in the evaluation.
Yeah, we appreciate you all coming tonight and being engaged and giving us a reason to do it. So we appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Feel free to reach out to any of us. And we'll see you somewhere out there on the social media website, search engine optimization world somewhere. Take care. Thank you.